talking about shorts.
But not short enough.
No, indeed.
A million things happening at once.
No, that's the thing. It's a Robert Rodriguez family film, and I have to say that one of my problems of seeing a Robert Rodriguez family film is that there's just a lot of shit going on at once, and sometimes that's fine. Like I like Spy Kids. They decreased with the two sequels that came after that, but the first one's pretty fun. Now, this movie, it's supposed to be think about 4 shorts.
It was about 5 shorts.
About 5 shorts that center on some of the same characters, and they all interweave with each other until they come to one big story at the end that combines everything that we've seen before. And so what I'm thinking is, this is cool. This is kind of like Pulp Fiction meets the Twilight Zone for kids.
But you're making it actually sound better than it really is, because when I first heard Robert Rodriguez saying this at the screening, I thought it was going to be like different short stories about different things. Mm-hmm. It's all the same. It's about these children who find a wishing stone.
It's like a little rainbow-colored wishing stone. Like it just came right at the gay club.
Yeah, like out of the Skittles rainbow, okay? And one... yeah, and the one kid will throw it because he's sick of it. Another kid will catch it, and it'll be the same story. But I thought it was going to be like completely different stories. Well, which is a great appeal to me, like a Twilight Zone thing. Yeah,
no, that's what we were talking about. You start off with this kid named Toe Thompson, and Toe Thompson lives in a neighborhood. And as we mentioned before, a neighborhood that's created by Robert Rodriguez is not going to be any suburban neighborhood. I mean, in the middle of this neighborhood, there is a corporation called Black Box Inc. And they produce this little device made out of little blocks, like little black Legos. I'm going to call my children one day. Come here, you little black Legos. No, and it forms into anything. A cell phone, a blender,
a toaster,
a toaster. No, I think I saw somebody wiping ass with one in one scene. It's everything that you want it to be. Now, this kid, he's lonely. He has no friends. He's an outcast. He's so lonely that he has imaginary friends. Of course,
I can't identify with this guy at all.
This kid is being chased by bullies and everything. So when he finds this rock, he's like, all right, well, first thing I'm going to wish for is friends. He gets these little creatures that come down from space, little flying saucers, and they do everything from baking goods for the house to clean up his room. They like
everything that a kid wants for his chores to be done with. That he doesn't have to touch anything. This even includes cleaning his teeth,
servicing the wife.
It doesn't go that far. I think if they had gone, if they
children's movie,
well, Rose McGowan's in here somewhere, isn't there?
No.
How the hell did he make a movie without Rose McGowan? I thought that was against his code.
Well, I didn't see Antonio Banderas there, but
last I checked,
I don't think Danny Trejo is in this movie either. So no, we don't get to see.
Could you imagine Danny Trejo in this movie?
That would be awesome.
Hey kids,
I got a wishing stone.
Hey, you say that, but he was in all the Spy Kids movies, and he was fucking great.
I went to prison and it fucked me up. Let me tell you about jail, you little motherfuckers. So we had this kid. Yeah, he finds his little friends. They do everything that like a little 10-year-old boy could want, except like help him jerk off or something. So, but then we move on.
How do you know it can't?
Well, they cut that scene out, and we want to see that. And then they have the next story, which is this kid named Loogie finding the rock, and he starts wishing for having this adventure. And this is where we get alligators, a tower, a flying pterodactyl that shits on people, and then it moves on to this other story where
the parents get
the wishing stone.
Yeah, they wish to be closer, and actually they just get turn into Siamese twins.
And this is where we see that the parents, if they ever get this rock, then it's all going to like be worse because they're going to be more irresponsible than the kids are.
You think this is stupid right now, but wait till we get to the booger monster.
And then there's another story with this kid Noseworthy who takes his booger, and his dad is a germaphobe, and somehow between the two of him they managed to create this booger creature that turns into a big monster and starts terrorizing the kids in this neighborhood.
What is that thing?
My booger.
You pulled that out of your nose?
Ew. All those years, you told me not to eat my boogers?
Yes. Now your booger's trying to eat you.
Okay, look.
This is the point of the film where it just kind of shoots down and, just like, okay, this is way too insane.
But, yeah, see, what we got here is that it's not so much a story in so much that it's about every wish bringing up a different special effect. It is just one special effect after another. And if it's not one special effect after another, it's one little physical gag after another. I think kids kind of like this, but I think it gets to a point where even kids are probably have a little more of an attention span than this.
You think there's 8-year-olds there going, "Oh, come on, Robert, a booger monster, please."
No, I'll say this though: these wishes, he doesn't really dwell on them for too long. Like the most wish, the wish that made sense to me the most is there's this little boy. He wishes for an endless supply of chocolate bars, and his pockets like shove out like an infinite number of chocolate bars, which makes sense for a kid to wish that. Like these kids, they wish for a castle, and they're on the castle, and they're like, okay, I'm buggering off now. Like you would think that these kids would want to dwell on these wishes. It's like, yeah, I wish for a castle, and I could do this and this, do that. You know?
I mean, it really is. Let's move on to the next visual effect. And like I said, yeah, sure, 8-year-old, they're gonna be satisfied. 8-year-old gonna be satisfied with anything. This is Saturday morning cartoons brought to live action. It's fun for a little while, but when you realize that the movie really isn't pushing for anything, then you're like, wow, I'm kind of getting bored by this. I mean, it's moving so fast that how many more wishes can I stand to see before I'm like, this is repetitive? It's the problem that I've had with Robert Rodriguez for a long time. I think the guy, I admire this person for actually going in and being able to make movies for adults that are these really violent action films or really grotesque horror movies, and then be able to go off and make something because he has a family. I mean, you know, he has like 5 boys: Rebel, Rocket, Ridiculous Rodriguez, or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
So yeah, I understand him wanting to make kids movies, and anybody who's that diverse, I'm fine with that. But the writing here, and I don't care if it's a kid's film or not, the writing here is just not tight. It's just loose. It's kind of like whatever idea pops in my head, that's what I'm putting down on the page. Most of my favorite movies from Robert Rodriguez are things that are written by other people. Kevin Williamson wrote Scream, and he also wrote The Faculty for Robert Rodriguez to direct.
Yeah, but that's not a really great one.
What, The Faculty?
Yeah, but you mentioned that. Really, the best thing that he's done
is Sin City?
Is Sin City.
And
that's completely written by Frank Miller.
Yeah, Frank Miller, yeah. And Frank Miller even came in and helped direct. And I'm not saying that The Faculty is the best thing he's done, but I think it's better than some of the stuff that he's done on his own. And I
don't know, because I like Desperado better than The Faculty.
Hey, yeah.
See, I'm not even a big fan of Desperado. I love El Mariachi. I think that's one of the greatest movies ever, really.
The kids of today, they won't be talking about this film in 10 years' time as being a classic to them, like the way Goonies was to me when I was growing up.
Well, but keep in
Back to
mind
the Future.
that most films always, since the beginning of cinema history, have treated kids like idiots. Anytime it was geared towards kids.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be used as an excuse.
No. You mentioned Goonies. We have a handful of really great kids films from the 80s, but there are even more really terrible kids films from the 80s that we don't remember. And it's going to be the same with the 90s and the same with this decade, where there really are a couple really good kids films. I think, the Spy Kids movies are going to carry on, but this, from what you guys are saying, doesn't sound like it's even on par with the Spy Kids.
Well, what he said that he wanted to do was, and we had talked about this a little while ago, is that he wanted to make something that was reminiscent of the Little Rascals. He showed the Little Rascals to his kids, and he's like, I want to make an episodic adventure for kids of today. And you and I had our debate on this, but Little Rascals, I do think that while they go on these wild adventures that the normal kid never gets into, they always have these contraptions that they make that the kids wish they can make, but no, they won't ever make that.
They're still kids, though.
They did seem like real kids. Here, the kids who are acting in this, they seem fake. I mean, they seem like actors.
The dialogue as well was too intelligent for a kid.
Well, the dialogue is too intelligent. Well, no, I don't even think it was too intelligent. I mean, maybe they're talking smarter than the average kid, but the dialogue is terrible dialogue.
It is terrible dialogue, but there's a scene where the main character, Toad Thompson, is being bullied by a little girl, and he's like saying, the real reason that you're bullying me is because that you love me, and that, and he goes on to these complicated adjectives. That,
he becomes like a therapist.
And I was just like, what?
And that's some cool. I mean, he's got a lot of people in this movie that you recognize, and these people put their best into it. That kid is Jimmy Bennett, that kid who fucking drove that car off the cliff.
Oh,
Star Trek.
Baby.
Yeah, I'm James T. Kirk, bitch. Yeah, it's
James T. Kirk in a wig.
Yeah, that kid is coming. That kid is actually doing a lot of shit right now. I mean, he's actually up and coming.
Star Trek to Robert Rodriguez.
A little bit of pot on the side. He's doing a lot of shit.
What's he going to do next? Dark Knight,
I know.
Dark Knight 3.
Yeah. He's driving a Batmobile off a cliff. I'm Batman, motherfucker! But
I am the Dark Knight.
But then you have other people that we've seen. You have
I'm
William
Batman, goddammit. I'm the goddamn Batman.
Respect like me. Now you have William H. Macy in this movie. You have Leslie Mann, and we've seen a lot of Judge Apatow movies. You have John Cryer in this movie, who's actually pretty
John
good.
Cryer shows
Yeah,
up?
yeah. And he's that. You know what? And he's actually good in the film. I mean, it's.
John Cryer's been good for a long time. He just
Yeah.
kind of fell out of popularity.
I'm just saying that in a movie like this, I mean, you have people who are trying to deliver good performances, but they
who
are
does he play?
against some very silly shit here.
Who did he play again? John Cryer?
John Cryer, he played the husband of Leslie Mann. He played the and you know what? It is just so sad to see a movie go so askew like this, because there are some very funny scenes in here and some funny running jokes. Like there's this running joke that begins the movie where these two kids are having a staring contest, and they pop up in every story in the background. And I thought, you know what, that's kind of clever. And the movie starts out with James Spader being the head of this Black Box Inc. company.
Because when you need an evil douchebag, of course you get James
You get
Spader.
James Spader, who is
Awesome.
who is slowly. That motherfucker's turning into William Shatner, man. Looking at him, he's beginning to look like him.
Well,
I
he
think,
spent a lot of time with him on that show.
I think he's having William Shatneritis by osmosis or something.
Boston Legal is what
Boston Legal, yeah. And
He used to be cool. He used to be cool in Stargate, but then look what's he's.
Yeah, he was
shorts
even
now.
cooler and Pretty in Pink, motherfucker.
Exactly. Sorry, completely forgot.
Fucking
about that.
tagging Molly Ringwald. Hell yeah.
shit, look like he ate
With
Molly
John
Ringwald.
Cryer.
Yeah,
as Ducky.
Looked like he ate both
Motherfucker.
Molly Ringwald and John Cryer. His face is so big, but he's good in the movie. We got everybody who's trying to put a good performance in this, but they're working against competing against a bunch of alligators who walk on two legs, and it's flying spaceships and boxes turning into robots. It's cool.
It's like a
for
Corey
while.
Coleman cartoon.
Shit, that's like a Corey Coleman acid trip. Look, I'm an adult. Maybe I'm not the right person to review this movie. Maybe kids will see it. Who knows? 10-year-olds may love it. I'm looking at this movie a little bit too much. This lost me very early on in the movie, but when it came to the Booger Monster, and there wasn't really anything clever being written except like one kid wanted to stop one Booger Monster by threatening to eat his own booger. I'm like, you know what? We're just talking down to kids way too much.
So is this a matinee film or is this some old bullshit?
No, it's in the middle. I think it's a lot of fun if you rent it, because you don't have to pay that much attention to it. And this movie has a very, very short attention span itself. So yeah, rental's perfect to keep the kids busy. And something, I will say something else good. I think all these effects were done by Troublemaker Studio.
Yeah.
And they have upped their game a little bit more. There's the special effects in here, they go between being okay to, wow, that's really cool. The alligators in this movie that walk upright, I was amazed by that. I was like, wow, this studio has really come up, man. But yeah, I mean, come on. Most of the people on the site, how old are you? Your average age is 14 to 50. I mean, no, you're not gonna give a shit about this movie. If I'm gonna recommend this, I'm gonna say, hey, your mom made you stay home with your little brother. If you happen to have this video in the house, put it on for him so he quit screwing with you and quit getting on your fucking nerves.
Yeah, I agree. I have to give this a low rental as well. As much as I may not like the movie, this is not a movie for me. And it's for my cousin or something like that I would give. So.
Your retarded cousin?
Well, I would never give this to my 13-year-old brother to watch because I respect him too much. But for some cousin I don't give a shit about, it's like, yeah, I'll give that. As long as you shut him up.
Yeah. It's that kind of movie. I mean, damn, this kind of movie. You expect a sequel to come out, and you're waiting for the turd monster being there or something. I mean,
Fuck, there may not be a sequel.
I wish I had telephonesis! Telekinesis, you dummy!
Shorts, a not-so-tall tale.